Arthur Dales' brother, Arthur, brother of their sister Arthur Dales, regales Mulder with a story about a wonderful baseball player from back in the Negro Leagues. A story about the love for the game
and possibly an alien in disguise. Despite Mulder's skepticism, the story grabs his imagination as he learns what happened to the great Josh Exley.
Sounds like an intriguing and fascinating episode, Andrew.
Time for another baseball story. X-Files is just baseball this, baseball that.
Well, you can thank
baseball.
David Duchovny. He's the baseball man.
Well, and canonically, Fox Mulder has always been a baseball man.
Canonically. Yes.
I mean, it's like, it's right up there with his fear of fire and his fear of bugs.
Yep.
And what other?
His color blindness.
Colorblindness, yes.
His red-green color blindness.
So, yeah, I mean, I would have taken him more for a basketball guy.
Yeah.
Basketball seems to be more of his thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he's had more to do with basketball here and there. Obviously, playing basketball a few episodes ago, and then his New York Knicks shirt with
comes into like 70 episodes.
Yeah. So, yeah. But apparently David Duchovny is a big baseball guy, and he wrote and directed this one.
Yeah, it's a huge deal for him. Mm-hmm. I mean, good for him for spreading his wings.
Yeah.
He did an interview where he said he wasn't ready for a long time to do any kind of writing. This is obviously a big step for him. And not just writing it, but directing it. I mean, that's not easy.
No.
Nobody's going to...
That's a busy schedule.
Nobody's going to tell you that, you know what, David, you're kind of screwing up here.
Yeah, from my understanding, he has writing credits, but nothing like this, nothing like a full episode. So I believe he started writing or coming up with story ideas with Chris Carter end of season 2.
Okay.
So,
well, it's true. He was part of
Anasazi for sure.
Anasazi, and yeah, exactly that two-parter. But I mean, that was the David Duchovny show for sure. It's like, how can I really lay it on this character?
Yeah. But this is a fun one. This is, I mean, not to get right into it, but I think the feel of this one, it's very lighthearted, but very enjoyable. I would say it's a good Monster of the Week. Quote unquote mythology.
Is it mythology? I don't think so.
I wouldn't really call it.
I mean, they draw on mythology elements like the alien gray trope. There's some quality bait and switches in this episode, though. Mm-hmm. I have to say, it's a smartly written episode. I do like it.
Yeah, for his first go around, it's not bad. I enjoy it.
It's on par with a lot of other one-timers that have dropped in scripts, and they've obviously been polished by the producers and maybe made better during the production. Mm-hmm. But quality show. So do we want to?
I think we should
put the actual episode.
I think we should get into it because
okay.
You know what? It's not getting any earlier, and I've been up for hours now. So
I've been up for 4 hours already.
Oh well. We open on a CG flyby of a night in the New Mexico desert. Roswell.
Sorry, did you mean to say a CGI flyby?
I did. Didn't I say CGI?
You said a CG flyby.
Whatever. It's a really
shitty particular attention.
It's really shitty looking desert mountains. Okay. It's unfortunately bad.
It's pretty noticeable. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're in Roswell, July 1947. Mark Snow's eerie music serenades us as we zoom over what turns out to be a baseball game. The Southwest All-Stars versus the Grays. A pitcher on the All-Stars winds up and throws, his ball crashing into a cactus behind home plate again. Another batter comes to the plate from the Grays, and the All-Stars pull back as the batter's reputation does the work. It's Exley, well known for his home runs. He smiles as the catcher trash talks him, while the pitcher winds up. It's an easy throw, and Exley smashes the ball into the darkness beyond. The umpire calls a foul, and the outfield all-star looks around for the ball, not finding it. However, it soon appears at his feet, tossed to him by someone or something unseen.
Never going to come back.
I like the E.T. reference, though.
Yeah, that seems good.
He peers out into the darkness, not seeing, taking the ball back with him and returning to the game. Exley awaits his next pitch, which collides with the cactus again. A third pitch takes another piece off the cactus. Meanwhile, the catcher reminds Exley and us that Jackie Robinson is in the big leagues now, and maybe Exley can be famous as well. But Exley doesn't want to be a famous man. He just wants to be a man. The pitcher throws an easy ball, which Exley smashes out of the field, the ball disappearing into the sky. The umpire calls a home run, and Exley has his 61st home run, his team hoisting him up in celebration. But soon Exley sees riders coming in from the distance, wearing white hoods, carrying rifles. They've come for the Black Babe Ruth, Josh Exley. There's a lot of tossing around of the N-word, the episode making its point about how we feel about this guy. He makes it clear they only want Exley. From out of nowhere, a baseball crashes into the guy's head, and he tumbles from his horse. The pitcher, Moose, has finally figured out his pitch and proceeds to land headshots on the other two gun-toting KKK riders, which are collected up by the baseball players. The KKK troop is held up at gunpoint, not so strong without their guns. The All-Stars coach stands over top the leader, pulling off his hood, but it's not at all what anyone expected. Instead of a mouth-breathing redneck, it's an alien gray.
Oh my God.
Credits!
Wow. Well, I got to say, first of all, Mike, that is some of the best prose you've ever written.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah? Okay. Well, I dramatic.
It was very dramatic.
It's like I was watching the show.
I thought so.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I hope that you can keep up this standard of quality.
I think I will.
Excellent. I love how the post-credit title is The Big Inning.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very nice touch. And they don't do that for everybody, and don't do that for all of the episodes. It's usually just The Truth Is Out There, but for the special ones.
They had their fun with this one.
They certainly did.
So what do you think of that beginning for the X-Files?
Well, the first thing is that it's a long sequence. I mean, they've had some shorter opens that get to the point, getting the episode, but there's a lot of exposition that leads to a pretty rewarding ending with the alien being the KKK guy. It's like what you would have expected in that moment, I do like the turnaround, that it looks dire and the setup that this guy doesn't know how to pitch. And then suddenly in the moment, he becomes the hero. I do love the underdog moment. Mm-hmm. That's a very good touch.
Oh yeah.
It's a mini episode smashed into a 4-minute segment. It's very cool.
Good stuff.
And I guess it's all that to say. I liked it.
Yeah. Good. So what is going to happen with this alien that they thought, this is our first glimpse into the racist aliens. This is just part of their character now. This is mythology.
The KKK aliens. Yeah. Nobody saw that coming.
Unfortunately, they are capable of space travel at this point. So racism spread far and wide across the galaxy.
Racism in 47. Yeah. Alien style. When they talk about illegal aliens, they don't know how true it is.
Yeah. Well, we return with a television showing a baseball game at the FBI HQ. Scully descends the stairs carrying a stack of old books, entering Mulder's office.
Mulder, it is such a gorgeous day outside. Have you ever entertained the idea of trying to find life on this planet?
I've seen the life on this planet, Scully, and that is exactly why I'm looking elsewhere. Did you bring enough ice cream to share with the rest of the class?
It's not ice cream. It's a non-fat to foodie rice dreamsicle.
Ugh. Bet the air in my mouth tastes better than that. You sure know how to live it up, Scully.
Oh, you're Mr. Live It Up. Well, you're really Mr. Squeeze every last drop out of this sweet life, aren't you? And on this precious Saturday, you've got us grabbing life by the testes, stealing reference books from the FBI library in order to go through New Mexico newspaper obituaries for the years 1940 to 1949. And for what joyful purpose?
Looking for anomalies, Scully. Do you know how many so-called flying disc reports there were in New Mexico in the 1940s?
I don't care. Mulder, this is a needle in a haystack. These poor souls have been dead for 50 years. Let them rest in peace. Let sleeping dogs lie.
Well, I won't sit idly by as you hurl cliches at me. Preparation is the father of inspiration.
Necessity is a mother of invention.
The road of excess leads to the palace of wisdom.
Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we may die.
I scream, you scream, we all scream for non-fat tofu rice chips.
That's one for the shippers.
Oh, sweet Jesus. They were so close. He came at her with his mouth agape.
But their saliva both touched the non-fat tofu dreamsicle.
Well, however, as Scully's non-ice cream dessert crashes onto Mulder's paper, she realizes he hasn't been investigating anomalies at all. He's been reading baseball scores. Mulder confesses that he's had a consuming passion for baseball, and by reading the box score, the summary of the game's hits and runs, he can recreate the entire game in his head. But Scully's not impressed. Wiping off the dessert from the paper, Mulder sees a headline. Local Roswell police officer Arthur Dales chats with Diamond star Josh Exley. He rips off the ancient newspaper, taking it with him to Scully's shock as he breezes out of the office.
Whoa.
We cut to a dingy apartment building. Mulder is visiting Arthur Dales in Washington, although it turns out not to be the Arthur Dales we remember, but rather Arthur's brother, who is also named Arthur. Turns out Brother Arthur has told Emmett Walsh Arthur about Mulder. Arthur slams the door in Mulder's face. Mulder recaps the newspaper article. It turns out, Andrew, that the Arthur Dales in the photograph was this Arthur Dales.
There's too many Arthurs. I'm confused.
A lot of Arthurs, and we have more to go. He was speaking to Josh Exley, and Mulder's mostly interested in the other man in the photograph, who looks a lot like a certain alien bounty hunter. This brings Dales back to the door, complaining that Mulder only cares about the conspiracies and such. He doesn't care about baseball. But Mulder proves him wrong, citing some useful stats about Mickey Mantle. Inside the apartment, Brother Dales nodders on about how baseball is the key to life. Mulder thinks that Arthur's experience could have some connection to the grand conspiracy between aliens and the government in Roswell. Arthur isn't buying any of it. He's known of his brother's work at the X-Files, the conspiracy, but figured no one would believe him, and also figured Mulder wasn't yet, ripe enough to be told. This sets Mulder off a bit, but all through their conversation, Dales has been looking for something, and he finally finds it. A small baseball-themed piggy bank. And if Mulder inserts dimes into it, Dales will tell him a story. So Mulder does.
To say, as a device, this is very strange. I mean, I know that Duchovny's putting his own spin on the episode. Clearly, it's not like they just happen to find that prop line. Well, maybe this is Duchovny's prop, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to put this in the show." It's gonna be
right.
But it's like so strange. And in fact, the whole baseball angle is strange.
It is strange. It's an interesting way for David Duchovny to weave his magic into the X-Files, his baseball magic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a story that really, in a way, and it sounds dumb, but I mean, I'm hooked. In first viewing, Mike was hooked because I just wanted to know where this was going.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's extremely interesting, strange. But it's strange. Yeah.
Yeah. I also wonder about the use of, don't get me wrong, I like Emmett Walsh. He's a great actor.
Oh, yeah.
I know they had to use him because previous Arthur Dales was ill. What's his name? Dale. I can't remember his name.
Darren McGavin.
Darren McGavin was ill at this point. I think he actually filmed a few scenes for the episode, but then he had to back out. So they had to do a plan B, and they came up with this. The brother also named Arthur. It's like, what? Oh, I get it. They probably did the Mulder Scully stuff first and have the prop that says Arthur Dales. Mm-hmm. So they can't just make an Andrew Dales. You know, right. They have to lean into Arthur Dales as another guy.
Yep.
But they could have also have him go to the door and be like, "Oh, you've really aged a lot since I saw you last.
What the hell happened? Jesus.
But needless to say, they dig into this. My mother named us both Arthur, and my sister's named Arthur, and I have a goldfish named Arthur. More power to you.
Yeah, I mean, they chose to make something fun out of it.
They did.
Well, we fade back in time to Dales as a younger man, a cop in New Mexico, looking at a poster. Recognize him, Andrew?
I do.
Travelers. He's the main character in Travelers, the original Arthur Dales.
Yeah. Yes.
So they use the same guy.
Go back to him.
Yep.
Well, again, probably already shot all his stuff, so it's not.
I'm sure they knew Darren McGavin was not available when they shot his stuff.
We're going to use, but they could have, if they had known that
they could have done something
Walsh, a different Arthur Dales. They could have used a different young Arthur Dales as well. But
very true.
I think it's late in the game. They needed to go to Emmett Walsh. Yeah, it's fine. It's just interesting to see directly the corner they have been painted into and how they're going to get out of it.
Well, the poster he's looking at, keep baseball pure, keep baseball white. $500 reward for killing Josh Exley. Officer Dales is looking for him. Assigned to protect him from sorry, my writing here was messed up. So
that's really
I can't believe I made that mistake. When Exley,
that's very strange.
God damn it, Officer Dales. Okay, Officer Dales is looking for Josh Exley, assigned to protect him from certain third parties. Exley rejects the offer, but Dales doesn't relent. He's going to protect Exley whether he wants it or not.
You know, despite your tripping over the words, it is still eloquently written. I got to still tip my hat to you on that.
Thank you. Later, the bus of the Roswell Grays trundles down a dusty road in New Mexico. Inside, the players are having a good time, drinking, playing music, good guy stuff. When Exley suggests they might be safer if they played in police uniforms, Dales suggests they could rename the team the Roswell Black and Blues, which looks like it's going to get Dales beaten up. But the team love him, and everyone's a friend. We fade to later. The team's asleep. Dales wakes up from some distant thunder and sees Exley asleep in his chair. His reflection in the bus window isn't normal, though. It's an alien gray. Dales sneaks over, waking Exley, whose reflection is still extraterrestrial. Exley wakes, looking at Dales eerily. "What's the matter, Dales? You look like you've never seen a black man before." Fade to commercial.
Ooh,
oh my God. So the question is, how can the reflection be an alien?
Yeah. I choose to interpret this as poetical.
Yeah, me too. It's something giving him a sense that something's wrong or different.
It's dumb, is what it is.
It's dumb. Well, there you go.
It makes for good TV. It makes for great TV. But yeah, it makes zero sense. You know, that he's like a reverse vampire. You know, the mirror shows off his true nature. Yeah, it's a nice diversion there, David. But I saw that and I was like, what?
They could have done something that was a little bit more.
I think the obvious one would be he's literally an alien gray in that chair.
Right. Yeah. I was thinking they could have his skin or his face kind of morph a little bit while he's sleeping.
Yeah.
And then, you know, am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing? That kind of thing.
Exactly. But the reflection is just like, I don't understand why your reflection is an alien.
Right. Well, coming back, Mulder grabs some mustard from the fridge. Old man Arthur Dales has made hot dogs. Mulder doesn't believe that Josh Exley was an alien. He thinks that Dales made it up.
You seriously want me to believe that Josh Exley, maybe one of the greatest ball players of all times, was an alien?
They're all aliens, Agent Mulder. All the great ones.
Well, Babe Ruth was an alien.
Yeah?
Joe DiMaggio.
Sure.
Willie Mays.
Well, obviously.
Mantle. Koufax. Gibson.
Bob or Kirk. See, none of the great ones fit in. Not in this world. Not in any other world. They're all aliens, Mulder. Till they step between the white chalk line.
Well, that's all you get, apparently.
Okay, so I'm going to have to edit that
Well, I'm sorry you have to do some actual work.
Hey. Let's not open the curtain here. Okay. We have a moment now where a young lad dressed all in denim with a newsboy's cap from the 40s has arrived to deliver Dales his bottle of medicine, and Dales gets Mulder to tip him. The kid makes a snarky comment at Mulder's dollar bill and dashes away, seemingly cutting between the present and the past. We're back in 1947 Roswell as he charges toward the ball diamond. In the field, Exley stands guard in the players' dugout as the players assemble. They pass along some chewing tobacco, and Exley hands it to Dales, who also takes some. But he doesn't know what he's doing, and probably swallows it, which leads him to retching it back up again, to the amusement of everyone.
I'm sorry, I just need to correct you on something there. Dales is standing guard in the players' dugout as the players assemble. That's a horrible mistake that you made.
I just read what's on the paper.
Oh yeah? Oh,
I can't be held responsible for this one, especially. But,
Well, however it got written.
It's like Ron Burgundy. Once it's on the paper, I'm going to read it.
I'm glad you said that. I'm sure that won't come back to haunt you.
Great. Can't wait to see what I've written up. So... We cut to later in the game, the crowd going wild. Dales seems to be having a good time, and he spies two men in the bleachers, looking over at Exley with determined looks. They stand and reach into their coats for something. Dales runs over to protect Exley, launching himself to cover him as the men draw pistols. But no shots come. Dales looks over, seeing that the pistols are in fact water guns, and they're spraying the men in the bleachers in front of them. Dales helps Exley to his feet, saying he thought there was a bee on him. Exley takes to the plate, ready to hit his next home run. The pitcher winds up and manages to clock Exley in the side of the head. No batting helmets in 1947, Andrew.
No, definitely not.
Exley goes down hard. The team rushes over to help him, asking him if he knows his name, where he is. He starts speaking an unknown language, but finally comes to, answering the question. He's from Macon, Georgia. Exley is walked off the field by his team, and Dales collects the glove that Exley's head was resting on. But a mysterious green goo has splashed into it, and it's eating through the glove.
Now, technical point. Shouldn't everybody be dead?
Shh. Let's not.
Green goo, poison gas.
Let's not do this.
It's a nice episode.
It's a nice
Walk
episode.
Past it.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to defend it because, you're probably right.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that I think, I could be wrong, they don't make it clear throughout the entire show, but the poisonous gas is for...
When you're shot by bullets?
Well, no. Now I'm like speed going through all the episodes in my head. I'm not positive if that's simply for the hybrids or if that was part of the problems they were working out in the medical. You're probably right. It's probably all flimsy and they should all be dead, but I don't know.
No, you're right. I don't think we've ever had a moment where a legit alien gray has been shot, stabbed, sliced, cut.
Because they've all been human hybrids.
Yeah.
Starting with the guy jumping off the pier at the end of the first season. Like that was where we first saw it.
Yeah.
So,
okay. I
it's worth exploring.
I pull back my objection, Your Honor. I am placated. Yeah.
Well, a phone rings at the police headquarters in Macon, answered by an officer. Dales is calling, asking for information on Josh Exley. The officer in Macon hands the phone to another, who says they have information on a Josh Exley, a colored boy of 6 years old, gone missing. But that doesn't check out for Dales, who is also speaking to another man about running a chemical test on the glove. The man in Macon asks where Dales is calling from. We see now, Andrew, hold on to your pants.
I'm ready.
It's actually the alien bounty hunter. And
oh my God.
Dales, none the wiser, admits that he's calling from Roswell. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Wow. They are in so much trouble.
That bounty hunter can accent it up, man. He just blends right in.
He's like an actor, playing a bounty hunter, playing an actor.
So you have to wonder, he gets all over Josh Exley for risking things for the, just to play a game at the end of the episode. But he's just doing community theater with all these roles he's got going on.
I think it's a little bit more on point, though. I'm guessing he is hunting for Exley, and he's assumed the identity of this officer. Yeah. Who looked exactly like the alien bounty hunter that he's impersonating.
Yes.
That maybe this is his original disguise.
This is what he came up with on the spaceship. He says, I want this face.
I want to be this ugly man.
So whenever I transform out of alien form, this is what's going to be looking back at me in the mirror. Unless it's an alien face, because that's what happens.
Yes. Yes, true enough.
We're back at another ball game now, and our delightful young boy tells Exley that there are scouts from the Yankees in the stadium, obviously come to see him. Exley is not excited by this. In fact, it's just the opposite. Later, Dales sits by the young tyke, who reveals that X is stinking up the diamond. We see him pass up some hits, and the obviously frustrated scouts leave the bleachers. Just then, X takes the opportunity to crack the next shot out of the park, sending the ball through the scoreboard to a mystified Dales.
It's just lucky. He had a string of bad luck. And then
I think he was just off the game, man. He just was not doing well.
The scouts threw him off.
I feel so bad that the scouts left just before this, because he would have been a star.
They would have hired him on the spot. He would have had no choice.
No choice.
Yeah. You have to come to work for us in New York.
Yes. Later, on the bus, the team's asleep except for Exley. Dales joins him, asking why he tanked the game. Dales has figured out that X isn't Josh Exley, revealing what he knows about the boy who disappeared from Macon.
I ain't never been to Macon.
When you got beamed, you said you were from Macon.
Well, I also spoke tongues like I did when I was a little boy in church.
I was joking, Arthur. Relax. I'm relaxed. You're hiding something. That's why you don't dare get into the major leagues, because the sports writers and everybody be digging around and they'd find out what it is, right? So you tanked the game in front of those scouts today. Disappointing those kids. Disappointing your teammates. Disappointing your race.
Look here, don't go talking about my race. You don't know nothing about my race.
I know that liars come in all colors. You got a secret. Famous or not, I'm gonna find out what it is.
While you're out chasing secrets, you make sure you're chasing the right ones.
Little double talk there.
Yeah. I like the scene. I do, because we got from pretty much the beginning of their interaction that they're very friendly towards each other. But now Dales has a sneaking suspicion that he's lying about who he is. And there is a lot of tension here because, I mean, they do some double entendre about, race.
Race, yeah.
So there's a lot they're playing with here to keep Dales in the dark. But I think it's a good scene.
And we know at this point that Exley's the...
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're not dumb, Andrew.
No, we are not dummies.
No. Later on, the bus is parked at the Cozy Cactus, and Dales is asleep in his room. He wakes, hearing a noise, gets up with his gun to investigate. Through the keyhole, Dales sees a form swinging a bat. It's X, clearly, but what's he up to? Dales puts down his gun and finds his pocket knife, using it to pick the lock of the adjoining door and going into X's room. Turning on the light, he sees that instead of X, it's an alien gray wearing a baseball cap and holding the bat. Dales screams like a little girl. The alien screams like a little girl. There's more screaming, and then Dales faints. The alien shakes his head as we fade to commercial. It's that time, everyone. The Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Magus Media Productions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/Magus Media, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support.
Okay, that is a pretty fun scene.
Oh, yeah. It immediately
and this,
turns to a slapstick.
Oh, it is totally slapstick.
Yeah.
I think that this is a moment that Duchovny has written around for this episode.
Right.
The idea of walking in on an alien wearing a ball cap, swinging a baseball bat, just loving the game in his hotel room.
That's a good scene. It's such stark contrast from what we saw in just the previous scene, like 20 seconds ago.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's a comedy. And
yes. Wasn't it always, though?
No, it was. We come back. Dale's being slapped awake by the alien Gray, but he faints again once he sees him. Dales thinks it's all a dream, but X tells him this is what he really looks like. Dales doesn't seem to get it, so X shapeshifts into the form of a beautiful blonde, asking Dales if this would be easier for him to accept. Nope. It's even weirder, especially as X's voice is coming out of the blonde's mouth. She sits seductively on his lap as one of the other teammates opens the door to get X, shocked on what he's walked in on.
Yeah, this is your Three's Company moment.
Oh, yeah.
Where, you're like, oh.
What is going on? Ooh, getting some.
But you two weren't about to do it, were you?
Well, they were lucky that he transformed into a woman right at that moment.
If it was the alien Gray sitting in his lap, that could be awkward.
Yes, that would have been a lot more of explaining to do, and a much shorter episode, I think.
Probably.
We're back on the bus, driving to the next game. At the back, Dales and X discuss how X came to be here. Now that Dales knows his secret. X left his community. There's some clever wordplay that suggests the divide between the white community and the black, but X is talking about the divide between humanity and aliens. Dales thinks he left for the love of an Earth woman, but in fact, X saw a baseball game and fell in love with that. Aliens don't have a word for laughter. Baseball did it for X. The game is useless, but perfect. He then goes up to sing a song with the rest of the team. We'll all be together in that land, as the bus drives off through the country.
Perfect, but useless. I don't know if I would call baseball a perfect game.
Unfortunately, Andrew, everyone loves that game, and it's fucking awful.
Whoa, you are really
I apologize
here.
I apologize to the baseball
we just
lovers.
Lost 50% of our listeners.
I'm sorry.
I just said it wasn't perfect. You said it's an awful
baseball
game.
Is the most boring sport you will ever watch. And it is definitely not perfect because they're still playing 8,000 games a year and there's no time limit. I know they just a few years ago introduced a small clock for something, but it does not speed that game up at all.
Isn't it like you've got 30 seconds to send your pitch or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But good Lord, growing up watching this, it was unbelievable.
When
you
get to the bottom of the eighth, you're like, thank goodness there's only one more inning to go.
I would rather watch golf on television.
Basketball and hockey are better games, I think, in that respect. Because there's always something happening. There's always movement,
Yeah.
Football and baseball, a lot of waiting around.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, back in 1999, Mulder sums up the story so far. X the alien loved baseball and avoided the majors so he could play in obscurity and safeguard his secret. This ticks off Dales, who's trying to follow the love for the game, while Mulder is trying to unravel the mystery. There's a lot of David's writing at this point, which is hard to summarize, so I'll just let Duchovny and Walsh riff for a bit and give you a taste.
You're also implying that this baseball-playing alien has something to do with the famous Roswell UFO crash of July 47, aren't you?
You're just dying to connect the dots, aren't you, son? Look, I give you some wood. I ask you for a cabinet. Build me a cathedral. I don't want a cathedral. I like where I live. I just want a place to put my TV. Understand my drift?
Drift it is, sir.
Trust the tale, Agent MacGyver, not the teller. That which fascinates us is by definition true. Speaking metaphorically, of course.
Okay, so is X a man who is metaphorically an alien, or an alien who is metaphorically a man, or a something in between that was literally an alien-human hybrid? It's official. I am a horse's ass.
What is it to be human, Fox? Is it to have the chemistry of a man? Now, in the universal scheme of things, a dog's chemistry is nearly identical to that of a man. But isn't a dog like a man?
I have noticed that over the course of time, a man and his dog will start to look like one another.
To be a man is to have the heart of a man. Integrity, decency, sympathy. These are the things that make a man a man. And X had them all. Had them all, more than you.
Wow, I'm really missing the
the last few seconds, man.
I don't know about you, but this is Stephen King trying to write an X-Files episode in his own way. It just does not feel. Well, I mean, it's not Stephen King, it's David Duchovny. But my point is that obviously, when Stephen King did Chinga, he wrote it in his way. This is David Duchovny writing it in his way.
Oh yeah,
and it's strange. It feels weird.
Well, it is weird. And I think the backdrop of the baseball game, he's trying, like I said earlier, he's trying to weave in himself, I think, by employing some of these topics. And he wanted to tell a story that was about love, but not direct love between, two people. He wanted it to be this alien who came to Earth and found a new meaning in life, it's an interesting story. It's definitely not one that we've heard in the X-Files before, but
oh, that's true. I think maybe my problem with this scene in particular is it really doesn't serve much of a purpose. Like, it's a brief check-in to the plot where Mulder summarizes a bit what we've seen so far, but doesn't really need to be here for any other reason than that. Like, it's David Duchovny has an opportunity to act with Emmett Walsh.
Yeah,
they get to share a scene together, fill this moment with stuff. Yeah, and it doesn't really land in any way for me. We have the briefest of check-ins, you're like, you're implying this baseball playing alien has something to do with a famous Roswell UFO crash of July 47. I mean, that's really the salient detail we get. And then he just goes somewhere else.
Yeah. So. I think it's more room for him to play. It's humorous. It's definitely playing on the humor of the episode, and it makes Mulder into a buffoon in a certain way, but
it does. Yep.
I think that's all it's meant to do.
And did you note in the background?
I did. I was just going to ask you.
Yeah. Please ask away.
Did you notice from Colony
reuse a little bit of their own footage for the alien bounty hunter?
They did. He shapeshifts the agent that he killed in season 2 and threw in the back of a trunk.
Yes.
Yeah, they use that scene, and then we fade back into 1947. Kind of a cool little clip, but
it's a nice transition.
Yeah. Well, the bus is returning to Roswell, where the alien bounty hunter has turned up to watch the bus come to a stop and offload. Dales and X see him at a distance, and there's a moment of foreboding. Meanwhile, back at the precinct, Dales gets a phone call from Ted, the science guy. He's been running some tests on the goo and can't figure out what it is. It's from a life form which isn't carbon-based. He's called the FBI, the CDC, Washington, which Dales laments. No one was supposed to know about this. Ted says he'll get the glove back to Dales. He's continuing his mad scientist tests when there's a knock on his door. It's X, who's come to explain the substance. It's from Mars, he says. Well, just to the left of Mars, which mystifies Ted. X then smashes the lab and throws Ted through the glass door, which is apparently enough to kill him. X shapeshifts into the form of the alien bounty hunter who has pulled this trick no less than 3 times previously, so we really shouldn't be that surprised, Andrew.
I know. Oh, alien bounty hunter.
I want to know how fast this was supposed to happen. Because they see each other at the street when the bus is parked, and then boom, we're here. Right. And the bounty hunter is here killing the scientist. Obviously, they could have done well with a crossfade, but
yeah, I mean, and they needed the murder to up the stakes. I mean, I just lament when they introduce characters and immediately off them for reasons. Yeah, and we kind of liked this guy a little bit, I suppose. You know, he's the scientist with a heart of gold and whatever. And he likes baseball, so clearly he's a good guy. And also just the fact that he dies from going through a glass door. I got my doubts that he would actually die from that, but okay.
And I'm pretty sure, I don't know if anyone cares, but I think this
you think
actor,
we've seen him before?
I think this actor plays Paul from Cheers. He's like,
you are probably right, but that is a very bit part in Cheers.
Yeah, he's not a main character by any means, but he's in a lot of episodes.
Yes. Oh, Paul. You're not going to have a future in the X-Files.
No, this was his one and done. He didn't make it. After the commercial, we see X running paces in the ball field. When Dales comes to see him, he reports that a man will testify to seeing X kill someone today. Dales knows that X is no murderer and says that he will have to get out of town. We have a touching moment where X and Dales play some catch. X has been speaking with his relatives and has decided to return home. This is despite Dales wondering if this is the right choice. X reminds Dales that he might look human, but he's not human. Sirens in the distance cut the moment short, and X needs to go. He asks Dales to remember him and tell the kids how he played the game. And after a compliment on Dale's throwing arm, he runs from the field.
Just like Field of Dreams.
Yeah. Later, Dales is being interrogated by a man in a suit who's trying to get X's location out of Dales. The G-Man tries to spook Dales with stories of the kind of person X really is, threatens him with being an accomplice to the murder, but nothing makes Dales budge. It looks like Dale's career as a policeman is finished as the G-Men walk away. Dales finds a mop with the word home written on it. Map. Dales finds a map with the word home written on it.
I really like the idea of it being a mop, though.
That's what I was. Mop. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yes, he found a map with the word home written on it at Bottomless Lake.
Are you sure it wasn't a mop?
I'm pretty positive.
I was watching it too, and it wasn't the right kind of light.
It's hard to tell, but it is a map. It is indeed a map.
Okay.
During this exchange, we've been...
Now, is it written on the handle of the mop, or is it?
No, it's on the strands. Strand? Yeah, it's on the strands.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
So he has to lay them all out in a certain sequence, and there's a whole...
It's kind of like a map puzzle.
Okay.
You have to put the strands in order to decode it.
That totally sounds like something that I would see on the X-Files.
Yeah. Well, during this exchange, we've been recapping our opening scene. X playing in Roswell, the KKK riders arriving, the alien laying out stunned on the ground. Now the scene continues, with X looking over the alien Gray, who shapeshifts into the form of the alien bounty hunter. As Dales drives quick to the scene, the bounty hunter stands, pulling out his alien switchblade and threatening X with it. The hunter warned X, but X didn't listen, so now he dies. The hunter is disgusted that X would threaten the safety of the project for the sake of a game. He demands that X show his true face so he can die with dignity, but X decides that the face of the human is his true face. As Dales arrives, the hunter turns X around and stabs him in the neck to Dales' shock. Dales rushes over as the bounty hunter rides away on his horse. He holds X, and to X's horror, he tells Dale that their blood is like acid to you. But it's not green goo at all. In fact, it's just blood. X is stunned and begins to laugh, tears streaming his face as he dies in Dale's arms. We have a nice overhead shot with the ethereal voices of the team singing In That Land again. We crossfade to an overhead shot of Dales looking skyward, reliving the moment, shaking with the memory. Later, we're in a ball field, Mulder hitting baseballs. Scully arrives in a moment for all the shippers as Mulder teaches her how to hit a baseball.
It's my birthday present, Mulder. You shouldn't have.
This ain't cheap. Paying that kid $10 an hour to shag balls. It's not a bad piece of ash, huh? The bat. I'm talking about the bat. Now don't strangle it. You just want to shake hands with it. Hello, Mr. Bat. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Oh, no, Miss Scully. The pleasure is all mine. Okay, now we want to go hips before hands, okay? We want to stride forward and turn. That's all we're thinking about. So we go hips before hands, all right?
Okay.
One more time. Hips before hands, all right?
Yeah.
What is it?
Hips before hands.
Right. We're going to wait on the pitch. We're going to keep our eye on the ball.
Okay.
And then we're just going to make contact. We're not going to think. We're just going to let it fly, Scully, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
I'm in the middle.
All right, fire away, poor boy. Ooh, that's good. All right, what you may find is you're concentrating on hitting that little ball. The rest of the world just fades away, all your everyday nagging concerns, taking away your biological clock. How you probably couldn't afford that nice new suede coat on a G-woman's salary. How you threw away a promising career in medicine to hunt aliens with a crackpot helped you a brilliant partner. Getting to the heart of a global conspiracy. Your obscenely overdue XXX bill. Oh, I'm sorry, Scully. Look, last two problems are mine, not yours.
Shut up, Mulder. I'm playing baseball. Oh!
Is it subliminal messaging that he's hitting balls with Scully?
That's definitely the closest they have ever been, like physically.
And the way he puts his hand on her hip, oh my God.
I know. It's and first of all, like, if you really wanted to teach somebody how to hit a ball, you probably wouldn't hold it with them. I mean,
no, this is absolutely how you do it.
This is how you do it? Oh, okay. Is this how men teach other men how to do it as well?
Of course. Of course. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
We're all men here.
Yeah. Well, it's a heck of a moment, for sure.
It is. Nice and pretty. So they hit balls into the sky and they turn to stars. Oh.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Amen. What an episode. There's a lot that happens leading up to the end there. Is there anything you want to go back to in that action sequence? Because there's certainly a lot.
Kind of like we talk about where we start at the end and then we come back to it, right? So
yeah.
So the Ku Klux Klan guy gets knocked off his horse. We find out that he's really the alien gray, and then they just kind of finish where the story was going. You know, he was hunting Exley the whole time, and you know, there's not much to get into there, but you know, he unfortunately takes out his mission on Exley, killing him. Now, what I want to say is well, number one, we got our question answered from earlier about the blood, so they did mess up. Number two, why red blood? I get its meaning, but it wasn't really blood because, you know, that's just weird. How does that happen?
Okay, but it's not like it came out of nowhere, because Arthur Dales, Emmett Walsh, Arthur Dales sets it up saying, can an alien shapeshift into a man?
Right.
Can a man shapeshift into an alien? You know, for love. So he is David Duchovny is very carefully set up the episode with that in mind, so that when it happens later, we get it, that that Exley's love for baseball and ultimately love for humanity, having chosen it for the form he's going to die in, allows him to seemingly cross the threshold to become a human in more than just his appearance. It's the same kind of magic that allows his reflection to be an alien in the bus.
Right.
But in fact, human in reality. So I didn't put a lot of stock into it other than, oh, okay, nicely done. This is where you wanted to go. That's cool. If you think long and hard about it, obviously it's like, oh, okay, I guess shape shifting is not just exterior. It could be interior if you try hard enough.
Right.
Question mark.
I mean, it's fine with me.
I love it, but
I'm okay
it's
with
big.
it.
It's a big ending. I'm cool with it.
I like the symbolism of it. I'd like to believe that it's just Arthur Dale's kind of putting his spin on it. Like in his mind, he was truly human because he fell in love with baseball and was living a pure life or whatever. But it's whatever. And I think it's a good ending. It's fun. It's a little bit cute for the shippers out there.
A little bit? God, it's a hot mess of cute for the shippers out there.
Yeah, that's true.
There's more of that now going forward. That's
just a little bit.
Yeah.
So how does Andrew feel?
Well, the one thing I wanted to pick out a little bit was the poor boy character, the little boy that this episode could not seem to get enough of. And I don't think that he is related to anybody on the show. And I know he's actually had some other mainstream roles. Like he's not nobody. And he's a good, for the character he needs to portray, he's a good actor. It worked, but the show almost falls in love with him. He's after a certain point in almost every scene. And then he's there at the end, and he's manning the baseball throwing machine.
He is the traveler. He is tying the present to the past.
Yes.
And he's an alien gray.
He must be an alien gray himself. Yeah. Sure. So the thing they also don't really get into, and I suppose they don't need to get into it because Exley dies ultimately, but is the fact that it's Roswell in 1947. Like it's a very specific date, and they don't reference the crash of the alien spaceship.
Right.
So it suggests obviously that that's not important, but yet why then set it in, like you could have said it in 49 if you want.
I think they're just playing.
He must be just playing.
Roswell is an alien word, an alien city in America.
Oh,
so Roswell's the place you got to set this.
And certainly Duchovny is hitting us over the head enough with the Grays business, like the name of the sports team is the Grays, the bus line is the Grays.
Right.
And fine, it works. He's really winking very hard to the camera, and it's working. So I'm totally fine with that. Oh, I like the episode. Like they go well out of their way to make sure you don't take it seriously, and so I am fine with that. But there's enough in there that you're like, okay, interesting choice, Duchovny.
Yeah. Interesting.
Does he write?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Does he write other episodes coming up, or is this his only?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see if he gets better. But for this one, I'd say,
I think he gets
interesting
better.
choice. Okay.
But that's season 7 for us.
Well,
prepare yourself for Hollywood AD, which is his next episode. That's actually a fantastic episode. But
okay, looking forward to it. What did you think?
Well, I was gonna say this episode rides kind of almost along the same lines as Postmodern Prometheus. Where did it really happen? Was it a story in the X-Files, or is the X-Files telling a story that actually happened? In that universe of, is this really something that happened? Obviously, I do think this one, give or take the fantastical elements of it, is something that happened. That's what I get from it. This was a tale that Arthur experienced, whereas I think, like we discussed way back when, Postmodern Prometheus, I think that was very much, this is a story in the X-Files. It's a comic book. Yeah. This did not happen. That kind of thing.
I think you could make an argument that any monster of the week
Yeah.
That is not that isn't a comedy.
The reason I go there is because both of them are storybooks, right? Someone's telling us the story in this one, whereas in the beginning of Postmodern, they're opening a book. And
right.
So I think that's just kind of where my head went with it.
Okay. I'm of the opinion but there's enough good stuff in there. Like, I do like the scene of, I do like the scene of Mulder and Scully playing the baseball, or him teaching her how to hit the ball. As corny as it is, I like the real moments between the characters. So absolutely. That one stands out. I could do without the conversation between Emmett Walsh, Arthur Dales, and Mulder. It's just, it doesn't feel like it belongs in the episode somehow. Mm-hmm. I know that why they needed it, but it doesn't really work for me. I also like the introduction between Mulder and Scully, the fight over the ice cream cone. Again, real moments. These characters the actors have been acting together for 6 years, and their chemistry is very, very good. It works. So I wouldn't want to just sort of cast those moments aside and say that never happened between these characters because it was made up. But, apart from the fact they're telling an interesting story, it doesn't go anywhere. It's not going to shape the future of the show. So in a sense, it doesn't really matter. But,
well,
it's where I land.
It's good stuff. Well, we didn't have any comments for this one, surprisingly, but
is it because you didn't?
Whoa. Edit.
And not going in the show.
Not going in the show. How dare you?
It's almost like you're busy doing something.
I don't think so. But yeah, man. Well, that's the episode. I think if you'd like to say goodbye to the good listeners, the good watchers, please do so.
Well, I would just like to say baseball is a horrible game. And if they had an episode about hockey, that would probably resonate with a lot more people. Where's that episode, Dave Duchovny? Peace out.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at tinhxfilespod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.